Welcome back, everybody, and this is the monthly. What the monthly is going to be is a kind of overall wrap up of all the projects I'm working on, or at least some of the projects I'm working on. It's going to be released the last Thursday of every month, not every Thursday. That's not enough money to make that happen every Thursday. But let's get to it. What you're seeing in front of you is basically the beginning, well, a little more than the beginning at this point, of what I'm building of the Icelandic Formula off-roaders. They're basically just really powerful, strong hill climbing cars. Not that that's really my thing, but I've always kind of wanted to build one, and with the release of certain products over the last few years, it's just, well, I've finally been able to basically get around to starting to get this build going. So basically what you're looking at is going to be a Vanquish VFD Axial Pro axles front and rear, the non-portal type, the originals. I still have the steel in the axles. I've upgraded to some heavyweight brass knuckles in the front, custom links everywhere around, Holmes Hobby Polar Pro, kind of a standing servo for now. Waiting to see what Reeves or Holmes, primarily Holmes more than anything, what he's planning on doing. But depends on how far I get along with this truck, will depend on what electronics I put into this in the end. Obviously, it's the motor's in, that's guaranteed, it's going to stay. It's a 4100 kV. This will be running on 4S, but you know, hey, you're climbing hills, or this might even turn into a beach going vehicle, but its essential is going to be roughly that of a hill climb car. And the cage is going to roughly resemble something along those lines. Ignore that. But these rims and tires, I've had them for years. Well, I've had the tires for years. I've had the tires for about 4 years. Just got the rims about maybe a year and a half ago. But trust me, you can't get them. You can't find them. And if you do, it's because you know somebody who knows somebody who knows something. These were very hard to find, very hard to get up. Now, I can't say you can't do it with any 2230 buggy style wheels and tires, but I wanted to keep it a little bit more scale, hence the cage that I just showed the printouts of. I'm doing a basic cage of that styling, but not complete. But let's get on to the next truck. Oh, come here, GoPro. Let me just camera. Alright, this is a in-house project for some of it, but basically, let me take the body off. This is an Element Ecto body sitting on top of an Element XF. Of course, those had to fall. And with an Element XF stealth transmission with the overdrive already installed from the factory, and 2 of their IFS kits. If you're wondering and eventually we'll be getting some SSD heavyweight knuckles. What I'm doing is I'm custom creating my own chassis, which with the intent in the future of basically possibly looking at seeing what the interest is in releasing this as my own chassis for anybody who's looking for just something different, something not on the market. It will be 4-wheel steering, but my build for this is really more towards a Class 2 styled Sorka truck build. Now, I know people probably be like, hey, why aren't you using solid axles? Well, you know, this is my own build. But right now, I'm still working on prototyping. Probably can't really see it that well, but I'm working on prototyping my own shock mounts to get rid of the plastic ones. And what that'll also help me do is allow me to have a front bumper mount, front and rear. But the nice thing I've done with this chassis also is I've leaned the front axle back a little bit, and I've made the back adjustable. So it's going to be in your standard or more preferred, I shouldn't say standard, your more preferred sizes of 12, 12.3, and 12.8. I would like to do 12.5, 12.5, but I don't think there's enough room in the chassis for the screws to not start interfering with each other. So at this point, we'll see about that. The transmission is shiftable forward and backwards, just depends on the size motor. I've got a Holmes Hobby Sport 550 12 turn in it because I want the extra drag brake the Trailmasters give, but with the torque of the 550. It will be four-wheel steering, like I said earlier, but with Class 2, if I remember correctly, Sorca rules do not allow rear steer, but I got to put a servo in there to keep the rear end from crab walking or just deciding to steer on its own while I'm trying to drive. And as you can see, it's still a work in progress. Once I get a better developed set of rails put together, I will offer them in 3 different flavors of G10, carbon fiber, and aluminum. These are aluminum, just it was the easiest thing I could get my hands on to work with. And depending on how the shock mounts work, I might include the fronts as a factory with the rail system. But like I said, still prototyping. Hopefully I might have something to come this summer. We'll just have to wait and see. So, on to the next truck. I'd like to get the body that low, but I don't know. Work in progress. We'll see. Now, you are going to see that a lot of these trucks have something familiarized with them, and that is a lot of them are massive works in progress. But basically what this is my own, going to be my own variation of a We Rock World Extreme moon buggy. And even though it looks like that's the front, that's actually not. That is actually going to be the rear. So what I've got in here is, again, a Vanquish VFD with a Holmes Hobby Revolver 1400 kV motor. It's a Outrunner style motor where the outside of the can spins, not the inside. I've got a 10-3 portal axle in the rear, which is normally the front axle, but like I said, that's the rear axle. And then in the front, I actually have a 10-2 front axle with adapted SSDRC bolt-on portal knuckles. So not only does the rear have the factory portals, the front also has portals as well. I've underdriven the rear to slow it down for the overdrive that comes from this factory. For this, if this was front and rear, that'd be overdriven, I believe it's 6%. So now I've dropped it down to, I believe it's like 3%, but I've overdriven the front, so that should give me a little bit more forward bite with everything. And I need to double check everything because it's been a minute since I worked on this rig, but like I said, it's a work in progress. It's getting there. It will have steering front and rear. It will be 3-link with panhard, and then I will be running this truck in a drop shock style. But I will also, again, now you can look at these. Those are the ideas. I'm looking more at the blue on the inside. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but that is what I'm looking at for cage building for these rigs. I'll get the camera kind of back in place. If I remember correctly, these are capper shocks, 97 mils, but like I said, I'm going to be running them in droop. We'll see how that works. Might put a 90 mil spring on it. That way it still has the droop, but with a little bit of spring for up travel, or down travel, sorry, not up travel. Well, it's all down travel on droop, but you get the point. But other than that, I've got a brass diff cover in the rear, got a brass cover in the front. It's still a work in progress. Not 100% liking the triangulation I have for the links, for the 3 links. Might do a little bit of readjusting of that. Like I said, it does have a panhard. Still working on how I'm going to do the servo with the panhard mount. I'm thinking about using some West Desert Wheeler Capra 3-link servo mounts that he sells and just modifying them. But like I said, we'll see. Might make my own. Not sure at this point, but servo electronics wise, like I said, all I've got is the revolver in here. No servos just yet. I want to get the chassis built and then put the servos in. Probably going to use the Holmes Hobby Crowmaster V3 or V2. Just depends on which one I like and suits what this project is a little bit better. It's on a approximate 13 and a quarter inch wheelbase, and the width is, well, it's wide. It's about 10 inches. Ish. About 10 and a quarter, 10 and a half. So let's call it 10 and 3/8. So might be a little wide. Might have to go. I might go with a narrower SLW hub because I think those are the 450s or 475s, and I think I got 225s in the front or 3 somethings. Like I said, it's been a minute since I worked on this. It is Vanquish wheels, J Concept rupture tires, and I think the J Concept foams. But there are some companies making some 3D printed foams, so I might reach out to them, get a set of their foams front and back. But I think that's about it for now with this truck, so on to the next. Oh, again, get the GoPro out of the way. Here we are. Now this is definitely an older rig that I have. Yeah, dry shaft parts out of the way. But again, LCG chassis. This is the Sherpa chassis from Holmes Hobby and TGH. It's the collaboration they did about 4 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, and released. This is their aluminum. I wanted the carbon fiber, but they didn't have it in stock at the time. Like I said, I've had this build since November of 2020. So yeah, about 3.5 years I've had this rig going. Honestly, this truck probably be a little bit further along, but the biggest problem I have is I cannot get the proper clearance on this transfer case with the dry shafts that I have right now. TGH transmission, motor mount, Ford motor mount. For some reason, I cannot get the clearance between these two dry shafts. I've reached out to TGH and Holmes Hobbies, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. It's been a minute since I sent those emails out. But electronics so far are another Holmes Hobby Revolver V2 stub nose, 2500 kV. I went with a stub nose because I wanted this to be super lightweight, super short. And then I've got the Holmes Hobby, I believe this is the SVH 500. No, this is a SHV 800. So super powerful, ridiculous amount of powers. I believe this is the TGH rear link riser in the back, Capra axles, SSD rims, Proline tires and foams, Proline shocks. I might be switching out to a different panhard mount because if you notice as it cycles, it hits really low. I don't like that. I prefer the other mount, which is flat here, so this pivot ball goes 90. It gives more up travel. At that point, it'll just be frame clearance and stuff like that. No big deal. I believe I have over the 833 rear gears in here. No overdrives in the portals. No overdrive in the front axle. I believe there is a little bit of overdrive from the transfer case, if I remember correctly. Super basic. I can't remember who the skids are. I know those were kind of hard to get for this chassis. It took probably about a year for me to get those. I do not have a 3D printer. I would like one. Eventually I will get one, but not in the budget at this time. I do have an MST body for this, and eventually I'll get around to mounting it. So, like I said, most of my trucks are works in progress, but you know, at one point all our trucks are works in progress. So, on to the next one. Alright. This disaster. I can't really clean it up, make it look really good, minus maybe doing that. So, what this is the Proline I-beam kit for the 10.1 and 10.2 SEX 10. 10.1, 10.2. Let me clarify that. And so what you're seeing in front of you is basically what I've been working on for maybe last weekish. It's definitely in need of some parts, because that, of course, I was not showing it. The tire shouldn't really go like that. Looking at picking some parts up this weekend. We'll see. Just depends on what's in the hobby shops this coming weekend. Simple $5 parts, if that. And this will be a little bit better going. But it is, like I said, it's a SEX 10.2 with the Proline I-beam. So what that'll do is it gives you, oh Lord, it gives you trailing arms in the rear versus your traditional 4-link. Super soft SSDRC, rear 10.2 shock mounts. Vanquish 3-gear transmission with incision gears on the inside. This came out of my 2.2 Wraith. I want to give it another shot before I get rid of it. I really don't want to get rid of it. You know, this was the motor and ESC combination to have about 5-6 years ago. I've not been impressed with it, but I'm trying to give it another shot because, you know, hey, I bought it and I've seen what these can do in other rigs. Let's give it a shot for this one. This is 2-wheel drive. It's inspired by trophy trucks for the front suspension, where you have your suspension mount over here, but it pivots your opposite tire side, front and back, and steering, which I'm giving this Eco Power servo a chance. It says on 2S or 8.4, it's got 400 ounce-inches of torque. You know, bought it many years ago. Figured give it a shot, keep it, no big deal. This will be getting the old trusty faithful Proline Power Wagon body. It will be getting painted green, and that's the only paint I've been able to pick up for it. Waiting for more paint to come in, but most of the hobby shops don't have the colors I'm looking for. So this project may take a little bit longer, but I think that's been a theme of most of my trucks so far. And for the final truck, this, if you watched some of my videos from about a month ago, is my AX10, Axial AX10. This is a very old truck. I can't remember if this is the kit or the ARTR because of the orange links. I can't remember which I think the green was the ARTR and the orange was the kit, and that's how it was identified. But carbon fiber twin vertical plates from Axial. June Fact drive shafts, underdrive in the rear, overdrive in the front. Axial Rockstar 2.2s, Pitbull Rock Beast 2.2 rims, and then I switched this here recently over to a Crawl Master Sport 540 16 turn motor. Oh. And there you go, you can see that better. Sorry about that. Again, Vanquish 3-gear case, incision gears on the inside, and I'm giving a try to this Power Hobbies 8014N Metal Gear waterproof servo. Suppose it has over 800 inches of torque. I had 3S. This truck will be running on 3S. And somehow I've got to figure out how to mount and make it look good the Axial Pro Body. It's Axial's in-house design Pro Body for their Pro that they released last year, about a year ago at this point. It's not meant for this chassis, but I am planning on running it rather low to keep the weight low on this truck. And I think it'll look good on it. So, yeah, that's about all I got for now. I'm sorry, this definitely ended up being a much longer video than I was expecting. I was expecting only about 10 minutes. But the problem I'm having, just in case you're wondering why I'm doing my videos the way I'm doing at this point, I am having major electronic issues with my really high-end laptop. It's supposed to be stupid smart, stupid capable, and now it's refusing to let me load anything to it. I can't load videos, I can't load pictures, nothing. So I can't edit. I did buy a new editor, so I am going to hopefully by again summertime I got a really good handle on this new editor. I can start producing better videos for you guys. So with that being said, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or gripes about the long ass videos, let me know in the comment section down below. Till next time, deuces.